Run, Awinita. They're coming. A boy's scream cuts through the misty forest as hoofbeats thunder closer. A Choctaw woman stands alone, her voice chanting a prayer to the spirits, her eyes locked on the horizon. Shadows of riders break through the dawn, their torches glowing like hungry wolves. She grips a carved stone, its symbols pulsing with secrets. Will this relic save her people or lead them to their doom? Stick around to find out what one woman will sacrifice to keep her tribe's flame alive. Welcome to the heart of 1830s Mississippi, where the Choctaw people live in harmony with the land. Picture endless forests, winding rivers, and villages alive with laughter and work. The Choctaw are bound by community sharing everything from food to stories. Their oral traditions carry wisdom, passed down like treasures around glowing fires. But dark clouds are gathering. Settlers and government forces want the Choctaw gone, pushing them toward a brutal journey called the Trail of Tears. The tribe faces a choice fight or find another way to survive. Meet Awinita, a 50-year-old Choctaw healer and keeper of sacred stories. Widowed but never broken, she believes the tribe's strength lies in their tales of hope and unity, not just spears or bows. She lives with Tala, her curious 12-year-old nephew who soaks up her stories like a sponge. Then there's Koi, a gruff warrior and Awinita's old friend. He guards the village with a fierce heart, his spear always ready. While Koi trusts in strength, Awinita holds fast to the Choctaw way, harmony with nature and community above all. As threats close in, Awinita's faith and stories will be tested. Can words and unity save her people, or will the flames of conflict burn everything away? Let's step into their world and find out. The sun dips low over the Choctaw lands, painting the Mississippi forests in shades of gold and crimson. But peace is slipping away. A new threat has arrived, carried on the boots of settlers who care nothing for the people who've called this place home. For centuries, at the edge of the village, a man named Carver steps forward, his eyes cold as winter stone. He's a land agent sent by men in faraway offices who draw lines on maps and call them laws. His voice cuts through the air like a blade, demanding the Choctaw pack up and leave their ancestral lands by week's end. Carver's men stand behind him, their hands resting on rifles, their faces hard. The Choctaw elders listen in silence, their expressions carved from years of resilience. Awinita stands among them, her healer's shawl wrapped tight around her shoulders. Her heart pounds, but her face stays calm. This land isn't just dirt and trees. It's where her people's stories were born, where their ancestors' spirits whisper in the wind to leave us to unravel everything they are. Carver's words grow sharper, his patience thin. He points to the horizon, promising wealth for those who obey and ruin for those who don't. The elders exchange glances, but no one speaks. Awinita steps forward, her voice steady as a river. She tells Carver the Choctaw will not abandon their home. This land holds their past, their present, and their future. Carver laughs, a sound like breaking glass, and promises they'll regret their choice. As he turns to leave, his men linger, their eyes scanning the village like wolves circling prey. That night the air turns heavy with smoke. A sacred grove, a place of prayer and memory, burns bright against the dark sky. Awinita runs toward the flames, her breath catching in her throat. This grove is where she buried her husband, where she whispered promises to his spirit under the cypress trees. The fire devours those trees, now spitting embers into the stars. Villagers gather, their faces lit by the glow, their voices hushed with grief. Tala clings to Awinita's side, his wide eyes reflecting the flames. He asks why anyone would do this. Awinita kneels, her hand on his shoulder, and says, "It's a warning, a way to break their spirit." But Awinita's spirit doesn't break. She walks through the ashes at dawn, her fingers tracing the charred earth. This grove was more than a place of burial. It was where the Choctaw held ceremonies where they sang to the spirits and told stories of their ancestors. To burn it is to strike at their heart, yet Awinita refuses to let fear take root. She gathers the elders in the village center, her voice firm. She tells them the Choctaw have faced storms before, and they've always endured by staying united. Their stories, she says, are their strength, not just their spears or bows. The elders nod, but doubt lingers in their eyes. Unity is hard when fear whispers louder than hope. Koi, the village warrior, strides into the meeting, his spear glinting in the morning light. His face is a storm of anger, his voice rough as gravel. He says, "Words won't stop." Carver's men. Only blood will answer blood. He wants to gather the warriors, set traps, and fight before the settlers strike again. The crowd murmurs, some nodding, others looking to Awinita. She shakes her head, her eyes locked on Koi's. Fighting might feel good, she says, but it will cost lives and scatter the tribe. The Choctaw must stay together, hold fast to their stories, and find a way to endure. Koi scoffs, calling her dreams foolish, and storms out. The village feels the weight of their divide like a crack-splitting stone. Tala watches this clash from the edge of the crowd, his small hands clenched. He loves Awinita's stories, but Koi's strength makes him feel safe. Torn between them, he slips away that evening, his bare feet silent on the forest floor. He's heard rumors of Carver's camp nearby, hidden in a clearing. If he can learn their plans, maybe he can help. Awinita and Koi agree. He creeps through the underbrush, his heart pounding like a drum. Under the moonlight, he sees Carver and his men sharpening blades, their voices low but clear. They plan to attack the village at midnight tomorrow, to burn it to the ground and drive the Choctaw out for good. Tala's breath catches. He turns to run, but a twig snaps under his foot. A guard spins toward the sound, his rifle raised. Tala freezes his body small against the vast night. The guard squints, then lowers his weapon, muttering about raccoons. Tala slips away, his legs shaking as he races back to the village. He finds Awinita by the fire, her hands busy weaving a basket. His words tumble out breathless, telling her of Carver's plan. Awinita's face hardens, but her eyes soften as she pulls Tala close. She thanks him for his courage, then sends him to bed, promising to handle what comes next. Alone, Awinita stares into the fire, her mind racing. Carver's attack is no longer a threat. It's a promise. She knows the village must act, but Koi's path of war could destroy them as surely as Carver's torches. She closes her eyes, whispering a prayer to the spirits, asking for guidance. The fire crackles, and a memory stirs a story her grandmother told of a flame that led the Choctaw through a great darkness. Long ago, that flame wasn't just fire, but hope, a light born from unity. Awinita's heart lifts. She knows what she must do. The next morning, Awinita calls a secret council in the longhouse, away from prying eyes. The elders, warriors, and women gather, their faces tense. She stands before them, her healer's shawl glowing in the torchlight. She shares the legend of the guiding flame, her voice steady and warm. Long ago, she says, when enemies surrounded the Choctaw, their ancestors didn't fight alone. They sang together, prayed together, and moved as one. That unity lit a path through the night. Awinita tells them Carver wants to scatter them, but if they hold fast to their stories and each other, they can survive. The room is silent, but hope flickers in their eyes like embers catching wind. Koi stands in Shah Men, the back, his arms crossed his jaw. Tight. He listens but doesn't speak. Awinita meets his gaze, willing him to understand. She knows his anger comes from love for the tribe, but love alone won't save them. As the council ends, the villagers disperse their whispers, filled with purpose. Awinita stays behind, her fingers tracing the woven patterns of her shawl. She feels the weight of her role as storykeeper, the one who must hold the tribe's heart together when everything else crumbles. That afternoon, Awinita returns to the burned grove drawn by a quiet pull in her chest. The ashes are cold now, the air heavy with loss. She kneels, her hands sifting through the blackened earth. Her fingers brush something hard, smooth, and warm. She pulls it free, a stone no bigger than her palm, carved with ancient Choctaw symbols. It pulses faintly, as if alive, its edges catching the sunlight. Awinita's breath catches. She's seen these symbols in old stories, tales of relics that guided the tribe in times of peril. Her heart races. This stone could be the key to uniting the Choctaw, to proving her path is right. Under the moonlight, Awinita sits by the river, the stone cradled in her hands. Its symbols seem to dance, but their meaning eludes her. She whispers to the spirits, asking for clarity. The water ripples, reflecting the stars, and a breeze carries the scent of cypress. Awinita feels her grandmother's presence, her voice echoing in her mind. The answers lie within the tribe, not the stone alone. Awinita nods, her resolve hardening. She doesn't know the stone's full power yet, but she believes it's a sign, a spark to rekindle the Choctaw's hope. Back in the village, Tala watches Awinita from a distance, his young face etched with worry. He sees the stone in her hands, the way her eyes shine with purpose. He wants to help, to be brave like her, but fear gnaws at him. What if Carver's men come before Awinita's plan works? What if Koi's right, and fighting is the only way? Tala clutches the small wooden bird Awinita carved for him, its wings worn smooth from his touch. He makes a silent promise to protect her no matter what. Koi, meanwhile, sharpens his spear in the shadow of his lodge, his thoughts a tangle of anger and doubt. He respects Awinita, but her talk of stories feels like chasing shadows when real enemies draw near. He knows Carver's men won't hesitate to kill, and he's seen too many. Choctaw fall to trust in hope alone. Yet Awinita's words linger, stirring memories of their childhood when they ran through these forests together, believing the spirits would always guide them. Koi grips his spear, tighter torn between his warrior's heart and the faint pull of her fate. The village hums with quiet tension, like a bowstring pulled taut. Awinita walks among the people, her presence steadying them. She helps a mother weave a blanket, teaches a child a prayer, and shares a smile with an elder. Each act is small, but together they weave a thread of unity. She knows Carver's attack is coming, and the stone in her pouch feels heavier with every step. Its mystery pulls at her, a puzzle she must solve before the flames return. As night falls, the Choctaw prepare in silence. Warriors check their weapons. Women pack supplies and children cling to their parents. Awinita stands at the village's edge, the stone warm against her palm. She looks to the stars, her heart a mix of fear and hope. Carver's men are coming, but so is something else. A spark of something ancient, something powerful. Can she unlock the stone's secret in time? Can she bridge the gap between Koi's strength and her stories? The answer lies in the hours ahead, and the Choctaw's fate hangs in the balance. The Choctaw village hums with tension as the threat of Carver's attack looms closer. Awinita sits by the river at dawn, the ancient stone relic cradled in her hands. Its carved symbols seem to whisper their shapes, twisting like smoke in her mind. She's spent hours studying them, tracing their curves under flickering torchlight. Now, as the first light of day touches the stone, a pattern emerges. Her breath catches. The symbols aren't just markings. They form a map, a path to a hidden valley deep in the Mississippi forests. Awinita's heart races. This valley could be a sanctuary, a place for the Choctaw to regroup and plan away from Carver's torches. She hurries to the longhouse, her healer's shawl flapping in the morning breeze. The elders and warriors gather, their faces etched with worry. Awinita holds up the stone. Her voice steady but urgent. She tells them the relic is a gift from their ancestors, a guide to a safe haven. She proposes leading the tribe to the valley where they can protect their stories and build a future together. Her words spark hope in some. their eyes brightening at the thought of a new path. But others shift uneasily, glancing toward Koi, who stands at the back, his spear planted like a challenge. Koi steps forward, his voice rough with doubt. He calls the plan a gamble, a dream that risks everything. "The valley is too far," he says, "and the forest paths are treacherous. Carver's men are close, their rifles ready." Koi wants to stay and fight to set an ambush and drive the settlers back with blood. His words stir the warriors, their hands tightening on their weapons. Awinita shakes her head, her eyes locked on his. Fighting will only scatter the tribe, she says. The Choctaw's strength is in unity, not vengeance. The room splits, voices rising in argument, hope clashing with fear. Tala watches from the doorway, his small frame barely noticed. He loves Awinita's stories, but Koi's courage pulls at him too. The village's divide feels like a wound, and Tala wants to heal it. If he can find the valley, he thinks he can prove Awinita's plan is right and bring everyone together. That night he slips out of the village, a small bundle of food tucked under his arm. The forest is dark, its shadows thick with owl calls and rustling leaves. Tala's heart pounds, but he clutches the wooden bird Awinita carved for him, its smooth wings giving him courage. He follows the river, hoping it leads to the valley. Back in the village, Awinita notices Tala's absence at dawn. Panic grips her as she searches his bed, finding only a crumpled blanket. She runs to Koi, her voice sharp with fear. "Tala's gone," she says, likely chasing the valley to prove her right. Koi's face hardens, but his eyes soften with worry. He knows the forest is no place for a boy alone, especially with Carver's men nearby. For the first time, Awinita and Koi agree they must find Tala before it's too late. They gather supplies, Awinita tucking the relic into her pouch and set out into the forest, their footsteps quick and silent. As they track Tala's path, the forest grows dense, its air heavy with mist. Awinita and Koi move as a team, her eyes scanning for signs, his spear ready for danger. But the silence between them is heavy, filled with unspoken words. Awinita breaks it first, her voice soft. She asks why Koi always chooses war over hope. Koi stops his jaw tight. He tells her he once loved her long before she married her husband. He stepped aside, believing she'd be happier, but he's carried that pain ever since. War, he says, is all he knows to protect what he loves. Awinita's heart aches. She admits she's blamed herself for not uniting the tribe sooner, for letting fear divide them. Their words hang in the air, raw and honest. Awinita touches Koi's arm, her eyes steady. She says their past doesn't define them, but their choices now will. They must save Tala and the tribe together. Koi nods, a flicker of understanding in his eyes. They press on, following Tala's faint footprints along the riverbank. The forest seems to watch its branches swaying like spirits, guiding their way. Awinita whispers a prayer, asking for strength, while Koi grips his spear, ready for whatever lies ahead. Hours pass, and the trail leads to a narrow gorge, its walls rising like silent guardians. Awinita spots Tala's wooden bird dropped in the dirt, and her stomach twists. They hear a faint cry echoing from a cave ahead, Tala's voice scared but alive. They rush forward, but the ground shakes with hoofbeats. Carver's men appear, their rifles glinting in the sunlight. They've tracked Tala, hoping to capture him and force the Choctaw to surrender. Awinita and Koi crouch behind a boulder, their breaths shallow. Tala is trapped inside the cave, his small form barely visible in the shadows. Carver steps forward, his voice booming. He knows the Choctaw are near, and he wants the relic, believing it's a treasure worth more than gold. He shouts that he'll spare Tala if they hand it over. Awinita's hand tightens on the stone in her pouch. It's more than a map. It's a symbol of her people's hope. But Tala's life hangs in the balance, and she can't lose him. Koi whispers that they can fight, that he and Awinita can take Carver's men by surprise. His eyes burn with resolve, but Awinita sees the risk a fight could kill Tala and spark a war the Choctaw can't win. Awinita's mind races, her heart torn. She thinks of the Choctaw legend of the guiding flame, how it burned brightest when her ancestors chose unity over fear. She makes her choice. She steps out from the boulder, her hands raised, the relic held high. Carver's men lower their rifles, their eyes greedy. Awinita's voice is calm, cutting through the tension. She offers the stone in exchange for Tala's life, but her words carry a hidden strength. She knows the relic's true power isn't in its carvings, but in the song. It holds a hymn of Choctaw resilience she's memorized. Carver snatches the stone, his grin wide. He orders his men to free Tala, who stumbles from the cave, his face pale but unharmed. Awinita pulls him close, her arms trembling with relief. Koi watches his spear still ready, but he trusts Awinita's plan. Carver laughs, thinking he's won, and rides off with his men, the relic clutched in his hand, but Awinita's eyes shine with quiet defiance. She's given up the stone, but not its secret. The song, the true heart of the Choctaw, lives in her and in the tribe. Awinita, Koi, and Tala hurry back to the village, the forest closing around them like a protective embrace. Tala clings to Awinita, his voice small. He says he wanted to find the valley to make her proud. Awinita kneels her hand on his cheek. She tells him his courage is enough, that he's already part of the tribe's strength. Koi watches his anger softening. He sees Awinita's choice wasn't weakness, but wisdom, a way to save Tala without blood. For the first time he wonders if her path might be right. As they near the village, the air grows thick with the scent of smoke. Carver's men haven't left. They're closer than ever, their torches ready to burn the Choctaws home. To ash, Awinita's heart sinks, but the song in her mind burns brighter. She knows the valley is still out there, a hope worth fighting for. But first they must face Carver's wrath. Can Awinita's song unite the tribe in time? Can Koi's strength and her wisdom become one? The forest holds its breath, and the Choctaw's fate rests on the choices they make next. The forest pulses with danger as Awinita, Koi, and Tala race back to the Choctaw village. The air is thick with the scent of smoke, and the distant glow of torches flickers through the trees. Carver's men are close, their hoofbeats echoing like a storm. Awinita clutches Tala's hand, her heart pounding, but her steps steady. She knows the village is unprepared, its people divided by fear and doubt. Yet the sacred song she learned from the relic burns in her mind, a hymn of resilience and hope. It's the tribe's last chance to stand as one. They burst into the village at dusk, the sky bruised with clouds. The Choctaw gather their faces tense, sensing the threat. Drawing near, Awinita climbs onto a wooden platform in the village center, her healer's shawl glowing in the firelight. She raises her hands, calling for silence. Her voice, clear and strong, cuts through the murmurs. She tells the tribe that Carver's men are coming to burn their home, to scatter their people like leaves in the wind, but she refuses to let fear win. She speaks of the relic not as a stone, but as a song, a gift from their ancestors to light the way. Awinita begins to sing, her voice soft at first, like a breeze stirring the forest. The Choctaw hymn flows its words ancient and warm, telling of a people who walked through darkness and found strength together. The melody weaves through the crowd, touching every heart. Tala stands close, his eyes wide, joining her voice with his small, trembling one. The elders hum along, their weathered faces softening. Even the warriors loyal to Koi lower their spears, caught by the song's power. Awinita's voice grows louder, rising like a flame, and the tribe joins her, their voices blending into a single, soaring chord. Koi watches from the edge, his arms crossed, his heart torn. He's doubted Awinita's path, trusted only in his spear. But as the song fills the air, he feels the tribe's spirit rekindle a fire he can't ignore. He steps forward, his eyes meeting Awinita's. For the first time he nods a silent promise to stand with her. The village, once split, now breathes as one, young and old warrior and healer. Their voices rise like a beacon, a flame that no torch can outshine. The Choctaw are united, their heritage alive in every note. Inspired by the song, the tribe gathers around a bonfire, its glow casting shadows on their determined faces. Awinita and Koi stand side by side, their differences set aside. She proposes a plan, one that blends her wisdom with his strength. The Choctaw will not fight Carver's men head-on, risking lives and homes. Instead, they'll use the forest's secrets, its winding paths and hidden traps, to outsmart their enemies. Awinita will lead the women and children to safety in a nearby hollow, while Koi and the warriors stage a diversion to lure Carver's men into a trap. The plan takes shape quickly. Koi maps the forest in the dirt, pointing to ravines and thickets where the warriors can hide. Awinita organizes the women packing food and blankets, ensuring no one is left behind. Tala insists on helping his small hands tying knots and ropes for traps. Awinita hesitates, her heart heavy with worry, but she sees his courage and nods. She tells him to stay close to the elders to keep singing the song no matter what happens. Tala promises, his eyes shining with pride. As night falls, the village grows quiet, its fires dim to avoid detection. Awinita leads the women and children through a narrow trail, their footsteps muffled by moss. The hollow is a sheltered clearing surrounded by oaks that stand like silent guards. Awinita settles the group, her voice low as she whispers prayers to the spirits. The children cling to their mothers, but the song lingers in their hearts, keeping fear at bay. Awinita stands, watch her shawl wrapped tight, her eyes scanning the dark for any sign of danger. Meanwhile, Koi and the warriors move like shadows through the forest, their faces painted with earth. They set traps, vines stretched across paths, pits covered with leaves. Koi's heart beats steady, his spear light in his hand. He thinks of Awinita's song, its melody still echoing in his mind. For the first time, he feels they're fighting for something greater than victory, for a future where the Choctaw can thrive. He signals his men, their eyes sharp, ready for the plan to unfold. Carver's men ride into the forest, their torches blazing, their voices loud with arrogance. They expect an easy fight, a village too weak to resist, but Koi's warriors strike first arrows whistling from the trees, startling the horses. The settlers chase the shadows, their formation breaking as they stumble into traps. Vines snag their boots. Pits swallow their steps, and the forest itself seems to fight back. Koi leads a false retreat, luring the men deeper into a ravine where the warriors wait, their spears gleaming in the moonlight. Awinita hears the distant shouts, her heart tight with worry. She knows Koi's diversion is working, but every cry feels like a wound. She gathers the children in the hollow, teaching them the hymn to keep their spirits strong. Their small voices rise, a quiet echo of the village's fire. Awinita's hands tremble, not from fear, but from a weakness she's hidden for months. A lingering illness, a cough, she's buried in her shawl, has grown heavier. She pushes the thought away, focusing on the song, on the tribe's hope. Back in the forest, the trap closes. Carver's men, confused and outnumbered, falter as the warriors surround them. Koi stands tall, his voice booming, demanding they leave or face the forest's wrath. The settlers, demoralized and bruised, see no path to victory. Carver, his face twisted with rage, shouts for retreat. His men scramble back to their horses, their torches dropped in the dirt, snuffed out by the earth. The warriors cheer, their voices a triumphant roar, but Koi's eyes search the horizon, hoping Awinita and the others are safe. Awinita leads the women and children back to the village. At dawn, the forest now quiet its air, cool with victory. The tribe reunites, their faces alight with relief. Koi meets Awinita's gaze, his nod, one of respect not just for her plan, but for her heart. Tala runs to her, his arms wrapping around her waist. The village stands unbroken, its home still standing, its spirit stronger than ever. The song, the fire of unity, has carried them through the night. But as the tribe celebrates, Awinita's strength fails. She steps toward the bonfire, her vision blurring, her breath shallow. The world tilts and she collapses, her shawl slipping to the ground. Tala cries out, rushing to her side, while Koi kneels, his face pale with fear. The tribe gathers their voices, hush their victory, shadowed by worry. Awinita's eyes flutter open. Her smile, faint but warm, she whispers to Tala to keep singing, to never let the song die. Her hand rests on his, her touch, light as a feather. The village falls silent. The bonfires glow, reflecting in every face, young and old, warrior and healer. Awinita's song still lingers, a flame that binds them, a testament to the Choctaws' resilience. She's given them more than a victory. She's given them hope, a reason to stand together. But her collapse casts a shadow, a reminder that even the strongest flames can flicker. The tribe waits, their hearts heavy, as the first light of morning touches the horizon. The Choctaw village stands quiet under a soft morning light, the air cool with the promise of a new day. Awinita lies in a small lodge, her body frail, her breath shallow. The illness she hid for so long has taken its toll, but her eyes still shine with gentle strength. Tala sits by her side, his small hands clutching hers, his face etched with worry. The tribe gathers outside, their voices low, praying for their story keeper. Awinita's smile is faint but warm, like a candle refusing to flicker out. She calls Tala closer, her voice soft as a whisper on the wind. She tells him he is the new keeper of the Choctaw stories, the one to carry their sacred song. Her words are steady, teaching him the hymn's verses, each note a thread in the tribe's heart. Tala listens, his eyes wet, memorizing every word. Awinita's hand rests on his cheek, her touch light but sure. She says the Choctaw spirit lives in him, in every story he tells, every song he sings. Tala nods, his voice trembling, as he promises to keep the flame alive. Koi steps into the lodge, his warrior's frame filling the doorway. His face is heavy with guilt for doubting Awinita, but she meets his gaze with forgiveness. She speaks to him, her voice firm despite her weakness. She tells Koi to lead with heart, not just strength, to guide the tribe with love for their people, not anger at their enemies. Koi kneels, his hand on hers, and nods. Their differences fade, replaced by a quiet understanding, a bond forged through shared struggle. He vows to honor her wisdom, to protect the Choctaws' unity. Awinita's breath grows softer, her eyes drifting to the window where sunlight spills through. She asks to be carried outside to rest under the cypress tree by the river. The tribe gently lifts her, their hands, careful, their faces solemn. They lay her on a woven blanket, the cypress's branches swaying above like a canopy of spirits. Tala sits beside her, his voice rising in the sacred hymn. The notes are shaky at first, but they grow stronger, carrying the hope Awinita gave him. Awinita's face is serene, her lips curving in a final smile as she slips away, her spirit joining the ancestors. The tribe mourns in silence their grief, a heavy blanket over the village, but Awinita's song lingers, a spark that refuses to die. They honor her with a ceremony in the sacred grove, now scarred, but healing. The elders plant new seeds, their hands pressing earth with care. Women weave baskets, children laugh as they chase fireflies, and warriors stand watch, their spears steady, but their hearts open. The Choctaw rebuild, not just their homes, but their hope, knowing Awinita's spirit watches over them. Years pass, and the Mississippi forests change, touched by time and hardship. The trail of tears looms a shadow the Choctaw cannot escape. Yet their spirit endures, carried by the stories Awinita left behind. Tala now, a young man, stands before a new generation in a vibrant village. His voice is strong, his eyes bright with purpose. He tells Awinita's story, how she sang a song that saved their people, how she taught them unity is stronger than any weapon. The children listen, their faces glowing in the firelight, their hearts learning the Choctaw way. The village thrives, its homes filled with laughter, its fields rich with crops. The cypress by the river stands tall, its roots deep in the earth. Awinita loved. Children play beneath it, their voices echoing the hymn. Tala teaches them. The elders smile, knowing the Choctaw endure, not through violence or wealth, but through stories, unity, and harmony with the earth. Awinita's flame burns in every heart, a light that no darkness can snuff out. As Tala finishes his story, he looks to the stars. Feeling Awinita's presence in the wind, he sings the hymn one last time, his voice joined by the tribe. Young and old, the melody rises a promise to the future. A thank you to the past. The Choctaw stand together, resilient, their roots unbreakable, their spirit a flame that will never fade. Awinita's flame still burns bright, not just in the Choctaw stories, but in every tale we share, every community we build. Her courage reminds us that stories are more than words. They're the heartbeat of a people, a light that guides us through the darkest times. So what story will you carry forward? What flame will you keep alive? We invite you to honor Native American resilience by liking this video, leaving a comment with your thoughts, and sharing it with others. Let's spread Awinita's legacy far and wide, keeping the Choctaw spirit strong. Want to go deeper? Research. Choctaw culture, explore their traditions or support indigenous causes that protect their heritage today. Look at these images, the Choctaw people past and present, dancing at festivals, weaving baskets, telling stories under the stars. Their strength lives on, and you can be part of it. Visit a museum. Read a book or donate to organizations that uplift Native voices. Every step you take helps keep their flame burning. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Let's keep telling stories that matter, stories that unite us all. In Choctaw, we say, Yakoke. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for carrying the light forward.